Hey, this is Kyle. You're listening to Two Poor Bastards, where a couple people, sometimes more, get drunk, talk nerd things, and do other cool shit.
Two Poor Bastards contains explicit content and drunken ramblings. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to Two Poor Bastards, where two friends get drunk, talk whiskey, and their favorite pop culture obsessions. This is Eric.
And this is Kyle.
All right, welcome to another very exciting episode of
A number which we can't remember.
the problem is we do interviews now and broadcasting and all this stuff, and it's kind of hard for me to keep track of what we are actually at. I think
We're at the next episode.
newest. You have arrived at the newest episode. This episode, we are going to be broadcasting the Cat Temper interview, and that was fun. That ended up being like an hour and a half.
That's a lot of interview.
It was a lot of interview, but it was great. It was a great interview.
It was a good one.
Tonight, whenever you're listening, we're going to be drinking a seasoned bottle of Colonel Taylor Barrel Proof. I busted that out because it's whiskey season, and
You better explain seasoned, because someone's going to take that the wrong way.
So it's been oxidized. It's a half-empty bottle that I've just sitting on my shelf for a year. So it's a seasoned bottle.
Yeah, I don't think it's like spiced rum or some shit.
Yeah, no, I didn't sprinkle my magic ingredients into the bottle, if you know what I mean. So it'll be an interesting thing to have a taste of what this is like a year later. Does it taste like what you remember? And I believe this is a 2017 bottle.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it tasted like the first time around. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I could tell if I like it or if I don't like it just by drinking it now.
Yeah.
So whether it's oxidized a lot or not, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting stuff. And then, again, please, as always, follow us on our social media accounts and like us, subscribe to our stuff. You can find the show on, I think, every single platform now, officially.
You know what? I just had a thought the other day as to why I don't see much on the Instagram.
What?
Because it's not Two Poor Bastards spelled out. It's TPB_cast.
Yeah.
TPB cast. Two Poor Bastards cast.
I'm glad that we thought of this a year and a half later.
Yeah, it's I didn't until I was putting hashtags on that shit. I was like, wait a goddamn minute. If you're looking for Two Poor Bastards, well, you probably aren't going to find it.
Was it because of the obscenity policy?
I think it was because of that we couldn't use it. I will try and see if I can change the name on it and make it easier to find.
There you go. Maybe you could change the actual the name, but the at whatever handle stays the same.
I don't
fucking know.
The thingy has to be different to be in looking.
We don't know what the internet is, barely. So we'll figure it out. Well, that makes a lot of sense now that we've been saying, hey.
I know how to run my own personal Instagram, but running this one, it seems like it's not working right.
Oh, it's absurd. Well, that's good information to know, and I should have figured that. You know what? It's so strange, who could, what company thinks our name is lewd or swearing versus others. I don't really get it, because I can run a Facebook ad, but I can't run a Twitter ad, and Twitter is totally you could post a video of a dude doing lewd things, or a woman, or whatever, but on Facebook it's like a family friend, you can't really, they've got a tighter policy on that kind of stuff. Real policy. All right. And then we'll talk about some stuff. And there we go. So let's get into this. So this is 2017 Colonel Taylor Barrel Proof, which what it means is that it's dumped straight from the barrel. It is what it is. No filtration, no cutting. No cutting means adding water. Filtering is sometimes they do that to lower grade whiskey to cut out the harshness, would you say? Or
even just take out particulates that might be floating around in there.
So It's the first time we had this, it was damn tasty. So we'll kind of get into this again and just kind of see what it's like.
Smelling it right now, it's like a little more intense. One of the barrel picks of Buffalo Trace that we've had. Very similar.
Oh, yeah. But different mash bill, right?
Kind of, you know what? I don't even know what the mash bill on the E.H. Taylor shit is, because the rye's definitely not the same as the other ryes in the Buffalo Trace line, so it's a mystery.
It's a mystery mash bill.
But it smells a little maltier, and the fruit kind of smell is a little more intense than that
Yeah, but
store
it's
pick
like
Buffalo Trace that was similar. Probably has to do with it being barrel proof, so it's
Like-
a little more intense.
like the intensity, the fruit intensity is like a fruit roll-up intensity. Not saying it tastes like a fruit roll-up, but like
By the way, it smells,
yeah, by the way, it smells like it has a much stronger.
especially if you took it off the paper and then balled it up real tight.
That's
It's a
Isn't that-
concentrated chunk of fruit roll.
oh yeah, isn't that how everyone eats them?
It's whoever was doing it right did that. Watch, that's a Minnesota thing. Like, we're the only people who do that, and everyone's like, the fuck are you doing? I open it up. I take the shapes out of it that have been stamped into it.
Who's got time for the fucking shapes and fruit roll-ups? God damn it!
I've been there, done that.
What are you? Were you 12?
About that.
Right. Okay.
That's good. Very dark cherry taste, too, I'm getting out of it. Spicy.
A dark cherry. I almost taste like dark cherry ice cream. Like how that coating gets in your mouth and you.
It's like a dark cherry, spicy sangria.
Put it directly in my mouth.
It's just, if you're doing it right, that's where it's going.
This is really wow. This is some really good shit.
So not being able to compare it to how we had it a year ago, I mean, I can't say that oxidation did anything bad or possibly improved it. Because sometimes giving it some air for a while does improve things. Usually it doesn't. Sometimes it does.
I'll say that I had a regular batch of Colonel Taylor that when I first cracked it, I didn't like it. But as I drank it more and it oxidized more, it tasted better.
But I'll say this. Over the 2.5 years, I was slowly going through my Lost Prophet 22 year. Like, oxidation wasn't great for it. But at the end of that 2.5 years, when I finished it off, it was still really, really fucking good whiskey.
Yeah. This is really good stuff. I apologize to anyone looking for it. Good luck.
Yeah, you ain't gonna find it.
You're not even going to find it this year's edition, although, like, if you want to tease yourself, you could certainly follow certain social media accounts for whiskey and stuff like that, and you see these bastards showing off their bottles. I saw this really weird-looking Sazerac. There's a new edition of the Elmer T. Lee, like a 100-year edition or whatever it is.
Like a centennial one or something like that. Yeah, you will never fucking get that. You won't get a regular bottle of it. Remember I remember those. I still have like a pour left of Elmer.
Yeah, you're like saving it for like that special occasion, whatever that ends up being.
Just remember the days I could go in and ask for one and get one.
I happened to find this bottle on a shelf of a rando liquor store. $80. And I bought it.
What? That's worth it.
It's delicious. So, your best bet, folks, if you want to pursue any of the things that we talk about, your best bet is to find some sort of upscale-ish or maybe regular bar and peruse their whiskey selection. So, I've certainly found some places that have been kind of crummy and had great whiskey, or have been to some fancy stuff and you'll pay through the nose to get a pour of a decent
Yeah, whatever
Whisk.
that shitty like bro bar is next to the Lagoon Theater. I went in there one day while I was waiting for some friends to go to a movie, and they had an unopened bottle of Elmer T. Lee on the shelf.
Jesus Christ.
So I hit it hard, and then the other people that I was waiting for came in and were like, "What are you drinking?" And I'm like, "This." They're like, "Is it good?" I was like, "Yes, get some." I think we went through 3/4 of the bottle.
Well, they made their money fucking back for sure.
It's like, why out of all places would this ever be here? Oh, Burpee Boy.
I think, here's my best guess is before shit got really hot, they like reps could afford to just give good random bottles to a liquor store or bar and not really have any consequence because
Well, now things just go to bars around here, at least.
yeah. So, if you're in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, you should get on a social media account and we can guide you to where you should go.
Ask me on Instagram
Yeah.
where to get whiskey.
Where to get the whisk. Otherwise, I know I don't know the rest of the world. That might be a good thread. Where do you go to get the good whisk? But probably no one will say because it's, highly coveted.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. So, you and I were talking a little bit earlier about, and here's a clarification because I wasn't sure, but he made sure to clarify this. So it's Arcturus V, not 5. He's part of Nitro Wave TC. He's a dark wave artist. He's got an album coming out Halloween. So big, he's teasing that on the gram, teasing that on the
The
Twitter.
album is Halloween, or it comes out on Halloween?
Comes out on Halloween. It is dark.
And is it called Halloween, too?
That'd be amazing. Actually, I have no idea what it's called. He's being a little cryptic with stuff. He's very excited, but there's a lot of cryptic nature in this. So that's coming out Halloween. From what I've heard, I'm pretty excited. If you're into dark wave, this would be something to check out. He's going to be, at some point in time, playing some shows, so we'll certainly get to that. And I know that he's got another album that he's planning to put out next year. So that dude, he's just hard at it. I mean, he lives in the middle of nowhere, so there's nothing else for him to do.
Concentrate on your album.
And so he's just been hammering away at making some music. So pretty excited about that. Please.
Did you say hamming away?
Hammering.
Oh, it's like if he was going hard as a motherfucker on albums, that'd be good too. Going real ham.
Going real ham. Hamming hard. Ham hard. So what's happening in the world? I know that Tonebox just released a new jam. What else is going on?
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
Tonebox, new album. Been waiting for it for a while. Huge Tonebox fan. Got both pressings of his first album. This one came out, grabbed that. I missed the super limited. Well, it's not really super limited. The more limited edition. It's weird. Like, New Retrowave drops their albums at like 5 a.m. And by either like 5 or 6. And by the time I woke up at 7 and got the email that the new release was out, that had already been sold out.
I know. I checked that out. I was like, damn. So there was 3 versions of the vinyl, right?
3 versions, yeah, different colorways. There's 100 of the one that sold out right away, and then 150 of the other 2 colors.
And then I imagine that it'll eventually just go to black until they decide to.
No, and then I think there was a repress of the deluxe edition of his first album too. I hope with this one though, this newest release, that it comes on unwarped vinyl, because both of my other ones for the first album are really warped.
Is that?
But you know what? That hasn't been a problem that I've seen lately.
Okay.
Like, I've been getting a lot of records lately, and I've been really impressed with how flat they are. Which, that's something that you shouldn't really be impressed with. That's something that you should expect when you get a new album on vinyl. But, yeah, for a while, there was a lot of warped stuff, and now I think maybe manufacturers are working out the kinks, so things are...
I know the last one that I got for myself was the Berserk soundtrack. I think you got a Dance with the Dead that was warped.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if my Berserk was or not.
Damn. Good for you if it's not. Fuck.
But I don't know. I've also, most of the stuff that I've been getting lately are video game releases too. So
Gotcha. Now, have you had a chance to listen to the new Tomebox record? Because
yes, and then that also brings me to another thing that I wanted to talk about is another artist, Tokyo Rose, has been doing a lot of big things this year. And I want to say that he is Artist of the Year in the synthwave scene because of how much that he's been doing. Tons of tracks. Akuma 2 came out. Everyone wants to feature him in their album. He's been playing a ton of shows.
that's true.
He's been grinding hard.
He's not a grinder, is he?
I don't know.
So the funny thing, so someone listened to the last episode that we put out, and someone reacted to that way. And for what I'm showing Kyle, it's I'm just like over 600 on vinyl, question mark, question mark, question mark, with Keanu Reeves going, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, that's just 1 week.
That was over the period of 2 weeks, from like the beginning weekend to the ending weekend of that. Oh man, it's been
9
rough.
days. Okay.
It's been real rough. A lot of things are coming out, but if the nature of the beast, if some of these things, if you don't get them right when they come out,
You're never getting them.
you're never gonna get them. And that's it.
And I'd imagine on Discogs, if you find it, it's going to go for quadruple.
Oh, fuck that. I just found out about an album that I missed out on, and yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm not really into future funk, but this release was really good because it was more just like, I would say, electronic music in general. Found out like, whoa, this is really cool. Can I get it? Oh, of course not. It's sold out. Nope. And now I'm fucked. I saw one. There's one on Discogs. The person wants $77 for it. It's an EP.
Oh,
too,
holy
and
shit.
It's just like, fuck, I can't do that. I want to, but I can't.
It's hard to really justify that when you spend so much money on so much other vinyls.
I know. I want to cool it, but sometimes you can't. And you don't even know when some of this stuff comes out. It'll just
no
randomly
idea.
drop.
Yeah.
It'll be like, hey, tomorrow we're releasing something. It's like, shit, I got to get that too.
Yeah, and then some stuff you want to be on a physical format is not. And you're like, the fuck? But then it just suddenly drops.
Yeah, Pilot Priest just did a new album too. It's digital only right now, so I was like, whew, I can take a breather. I haven't had a chance to hear it yet, so I'll have to listen to that, see where that goes. But that was kind of a relief knowing that.
Yeah, Baldocaster as well. I think he's got a new album, I believe. But I think it's digital only right now.
Be like, thank you for the starting out digital only release.
Thank you for the reprieve on my
And
wallet.
later. Oh, and then Makeup and Vanity Set recently released a new album, and I should check that out. I don't want to miss out on that either if it's really good.
So you're in this like vicious cycle of like, you have to buy because if you don't, you'll never get it.
Oh, no. And then I just got the opportunity to get a test pressing for Dream Electric 2, so I got that also.
You shit.
So now I have the test press for both the first and the second one.
Well, I need to get the first two still, or both of them. Is what I need to
Yes,
get.
you do.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We're going to play the interview, and then we'll be back after this. All right, so welcome to this episode of Two Poor Bastards. We are joined by Mike, aka Cat Temper. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah. Obviously, for those that don't know, is that you are a synthwave artist. You put out your second record. When did that come out?
Holy cow, when did that come out? I believe the beginning of August. I've been really productive this year since starting this project, so it's hard to keep track of. I've been actually trying to put more room in between releases, and I've got one more in the can that I'll save for next year. give
Wow,
people a break.
you're smart.
You got something in the works ready to release.
I'm learning.
Okay. Not trying to play catch up.
Right, and that's actually really that's a very familiar conversation or discussion point amongst a lot of electronic music artists. Is that do you release monthly, weekly? Do you release yearly? You know, because there's always seems to be this like you always have to grab people's attention, and I firmly believe in less is more.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'm coming to believe that too. I do see that debate everywhere, and no one seems to agree on something, but I lean towards what you go with.
So give us a little background on yourself, and you know, I'm really curious how you got into this particular genre of music, and we'll
And
start.
I want to back it up actually,
Oh,
because you
please.
said like, okay, you synthwave artist. Do you consider yourself a synthwave artist?
I I don't know what I fall into. I happened to start this at the same time that I was really getting into following synthwave, and it was just kind of a natural fit. I think I'm on the fringes enough that I fit into it. I'm definitely closer to something like Unholy Rat King than Ali Ride, if I have to put it on a spectrum. Um, I've been making music since the late 80s and just kind of been doing the same thing all along. And fortunately, things have swung around enough that what I happen to do is back in style again.
That's awesome.
Everything
It
that's
was
old
never
is new
popular
again.
at the time, so
Right. That's amazing. So Cat Temper, the project, how long has that been around? Approximately.
I, it started right in January of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent a few months figuring out what my sound was going to be, the palette, the tools I was going to use, the branding, and then I just kind of hit the ground running.
Is there a particular, story behind the name you chose?
I used to do a different project that was Toytronica music. It was all toy instruments and electronic accompaniment, and that had much more of a happy rainbow vibe to it. And the mascot for that was a happy bunny. And
Okay.
I did that for a long time. It was time to put that to rest and take a different direction. And I thought a good contrast to that would be angry cats. So, and the URL was available for Cat Temper.
Therein lies the secret to
That's
any
always
name.
the number one. Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, I like
I
that.
won't
Now,
tell you all the 20 names that hit the rejection pile.
Right. That.
So yeah, this is definitely going back to um, the roots of what got me into music. Um, Growing up, I was into punk, prog, thrash metal, industrial noise stuff. Um, at the same time as synth pop, new romantic, Paisley Park type stuff.
Gotcha.
So I'm leaning more onto the edgier side of things than I have been in the past 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say listen to your albums. Like, I would agree with that. I don't agree with you putting yourself into the Unholy Rat King spectrum.
well, fringes. You were saying the fringes.
That's
but
fair.
So did you throw the Paisley Park thing in there just because we're Minnesotan? You're getting brownie points with us.
Oh
there.
God, that's right.
Doesn't
How
even-
often do you guys make a pilgrimage to the Prince Estate? That's all I know about Minneapolis.
I have never.
We have not been. And it's probably
Oh,
because we're the
how-
people who live
so you
here.
probably don't run into Morris Day at Burger King or anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm
Oh.
waiting for that day.
Okay.
I'd have to go to a Burger King first, but
I am waiting for him to throw me into a dumpster.
That is my favorite part of that movie, actually.
You know what? That
So,
movie is all about Morris Day.
It wasn't even politically correct back then either.
No.
Who's his manservant? Jerome? Is that his name?
Oh, I can't remember.
it's been fucking forever since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
You don't have it on constant replay. You're not a true Minnesotan. Come on.
Oh, sorry. I was a big Prince fan growing up, and I collected everything he put out up to the Batman soundtrack.
Smart.
And even stopping there, I'd say Prince is the largest chunk of my record collection. And I collect bands' full discographies, so nothing's even come close yet.
Nice. Now, the question I have is, was it the timeline up to Batman that you decided to stop, or was it because of Batman that you stopped?
It was kind of because of Batman.
Okay.
Like, I kind of felt his most genius stuff was a couple albums before that. And, you know, my interests were shifting, getting into kind of different stuff. My Prince shelf was starting to sag a little bit. I thought I'd give it a break, but yeah, I kind of dipped my toe back into what he's done since then, but his mid 80s, early 90s work is definitely where it's at for me.
Oh yeah.
For me, I can definitely attribute Diamonds and Pearls
That's-
to me turning into a sexual aware person. Like seeing the video for Cream, and I was just like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? What's happening?
I'm getting feelings.
Weird
parts I didn't
feelings in my
know.
pants.
Yeah. I was actually going to make a comment.
It wasn't David Bowie in Labyrinth, it was Prince in Cream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and there was another video too. I can't remember it at the time. I'll remember it later. I'll bring it up and make the conversation real weird. But I'll think of it in a little bit here.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say Diamonds and Cream is like...
Diamonds and Cream?
Diamonds and Pearls.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Diamonds and Pearls is that's my jam. And the thing is like, my dad had that record, and he would, like, I was pretty young. I don't remember when that came out. And I'd be blasting that while he's in the other room. And I'm like, I can't imagine what he thought while I'm blasting that album.
That you had taste.
Clearly, because it was his. So obviously, he's probably very proud.
He raised you right.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, as a parent,
Or
if
he
my...
was full of regret.
Yeah.
Or both.
Or both. It's probably both, honestly. All right. And the other thing I'm gathering is that you collect vinyl. Is that what I'm picking up here?
Yes, at the time I grew up, that was the format of choice, and then quickly died out when I hit high school. So I put it on hold for a long time, got into CDs and mini discs for the short time that was
Sweet.
cool, if that ever was cool.
I mean,
And then
I
when
thought
I
it was
discovered
cool shit.
Bandcamp, like, I actually put out a mini disc version of the first Cat Temper album, kind of as a joke, just to see what people would say, and it sold pretty fast, much to my chagrin, because I was hand making those at home and entering all the track titles and credits, like character by character, on this little thumb pad after the 10th mini disc.
So you were doing it on a portable unit then, weren't you?
Yes.
Yep, I know that pain. Been there, done that.
So I'm a little sad because I want one of those albums because I still have a mini disc player.
Okay, I'll put you on the reserve list when I
thank you.
when I do the second edition. I'll tell Laser Steel Records they're going to have to change their branding.
I think that's a great idea.
Laser Steel MDs. So yeah, probably 5 or 6 years ago when I discovered Bandcamp, I was really surprised to see how much vinyl and cassettes were moving on there. And it was really encouraging. And I think it was Srirachi who, do you guys know him? He's kind of a single man, modular drone experimental synth thing that has like death metal drums and vocals on some of the albums.
No, this is very intriguing though. My ears perked right
He
up.
might be in Chicago. I don't know.
It's-
Okay, I'll send you guys a link.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Please.
This sounds like I would
He
like
put
it.
out a beautiful album with a gorgeous cover art, and that got me back into vinyl full time.
Yeah.
And I blame him for taking up a room in my house now with IKEA shelves.
How much vinyl
I
do you
hit
have? I'm
Bandcamp
curious.
really hard. And what's that?
I said, how many records do you have? I'm just curious.
Oh my God. Let me see. I do keep a Discogs list of it, but I need to update that. So it's probably close to 2,000 right now.
Ooh,
Damn.
nice.
And I've sold a bunch over the years, but that's like the core collection.
Do you have any regrets? Like, is there a record that you sold that you're like, now you're like, I should not have done that?
I have regrets about letting people borrow certain records.
Definitely.
I had a beautiful etched fetus record that disappeared, and my favorite Einstürzende Neubauten record, Tabula Rasa. I don't remember who I lent that to, but now it goes for hundreds of dollars on eBay.
Damn. I have that record on
So,
CD,
never again.
but I don't have
Yep,
it.
I have the CD version,
But it's a CD, and who wants CDs now?
right. Yeah, they're all in my attic. That used
Well,
to take
yeah.
up most of my house.
Have you had any thoughts about putting any of your stuff on CD, or are you just like doing vinyl, doing...
My last project, I'm a designer by day, and making music, half the motivation in that comes from wanting to do cool packaging for it. So I kind of driven to put out some kind of physical format. And my last band, I was putting out CDs all the way through until that market completely dried up. And that's when I started doing vinyl. And thankfully, those actually sell. So, but I don't think I'm going to get back into CDs.
I've got your first record on vinyl, and you did sign it for me, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And
You're one of the few.
yes, I was a fool
asked
and
for
did
that.
not ask for mine to be signed because I have one as well.
Well, the thing with Bandcamp is
When
like,
I visit the Prince Museum, I will bring my marker along.
perfect.
Okay, I will sign your Prince vinyl.
Okay, good.
Deal.
Well, the thing
Then
with
I can afford to get Tabula Rasa again.
there you go.
Okay,
Done.
sorry.
No worries. So the thing with like Bandcamp is like you could put that request in, but you have no idea who's actually manning that particular site. So it could be the artist or it could be the company. So you really have no idea if you put the request in, please sign this, if it actually will get signed or not.
Yeah, I've had mixed results trying to contact artists as well, especially when merch goes missing.
Luckily, I've never had that, but I could see that being a huge issue.
My God, especially if it's because like, do you print your vinyl in lower volume? So there's kind of like you have a certain quota that you're doing, and that's it.
Yeah. Thankfully, vinyl's become popular enough now that more and more of the pressing plants are doing small runs, whereas before you had to do at least 300 to 500. Now I just get 100 of each, and that seems to satisfy the need. You guys buy mostly indie vinyl, right?
It's pretty much.
Yeah.
It's,
Do
yeah.
you get it mostly through Bandcamp or from artists directly from their websites, or do you use distributor, or where do you get it?
A lot of the time, Bandcamp.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Bandcamp is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they rock.
I'm not an artist, so I can't speak from that angle of it. But as a consumer who's looking for new stuff, looking for different stuff, looking for interesting things, I find it to be the best source.
Yeah. I would say the only time that I would
Oh,
go to
yeah.
the site of Bandcamp is like if a record company made you go through their particular site to pre-order it or order it. Otherwise, yeah, it's Bandcamp. That's the best. It's the best route.
Yeah, same here.
And the beautiful...
Bandcamp is super dangerous in my house.
Yes,
It is.
Yes.
Well, yeah. And the beautiful thing about it is, like, say I'm going on there to buy, an artist vinyl. Like, as soon as I hit that pay button, I also get a digital download, too. And
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome. And I can
Oh,
pick...
yeah. I'm super spoiled with that.
Yeah, and I get to pick what quality I want it at. Of course, I'm going to do the highest quality, and that's perfect. Instead of, like, here's the little code card, with the vinyl for an MP3 download. It's like, nah, nobody does that anymore. This is like 15 years ago.
I mean, that, yeah.
Yeah, I still can't believe they they let you download like CD quality, master quality files. It just blows my mind, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
am surprised when there are artists on Bandcamp who don't even provide preview tracks because they're so protective of their music.
That's
In this
crazy
day and
too.
age, I don't see how you can justify that. Yeah, I'm not going to buy anything until I can hear
Oh,
at least
absolutely.
half the album,
Well,
unless I really know the artist.
right, exactly.
Well, even then, I'm iffy about it too. Like, okay, here's a pre-order for the vinyl. You can only listen to one track beforehand. That's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big pass.
You know what pisses me off is
Artists,
when.
take a listen.
Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say.
Stepping on each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say that what makes me mad about Bandcamp is when an artist gets big and they step off that platform and you no longer have that ability to download the music after
yeah.
you buy it. So like Ghost's new record, it's not on Bandcamp and you buy it directly from Century Media and you don't get a download code for it. So I had to buy the album twice, which
Or if you had Tidal,
I've done that.
the streaming service,
Yeah, I'm not
you
big
could
on
listen to it all on there.
I'm not doing that.
It's tight if you were
I
looking
get
to get the
disappointed when I. Oh, sorry.
Nope, keep going.
Start over.
It's all you.
Interview's over. No, I still go into thrift stores and used places and pick up all the albums I wanted when I was a kid, and I still get mildly annoyed and confused for a second when I bring it home and there's no download code in an album.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Someone needs to start that service.
I'm really
No,
curious.
what I need to do is make download cards for my album and insert it in all those thrift store albums.
I think that'd be
Okay.
Whoa.
That's
I have a new
brilliant
project.
idea. Do it.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest with you,
Why
like
didn't I thought this before?
really like
I
I
might have
really
missed
enjoy
out.
your music. So that'd be
Oh, man.
worth it. So, again, thanks for being on because we dig your stuff.
Yeah,
so.
you go pick up that Wham single that you've
Yes!
always wanted for years, and there's a Cat Temper
What is
download card in it.
There's number one, there's no way you're finding a Wham album anywhere.
No, that's true.
You're not getting it.
Yeah.
It's wishful thinking on my behalf because that's really what I want right now.
Oh,
What I found is like, and I don't know, Mike, if you've kind of come across the same thing, but like the stuff that you would see every single day, you'd go into, a used bookstore or whatever it is, it would be there forever. It'd be there for years. Now, if it's from the 80s, you're not finding it. It's not. It's all
yes. Oh, thanks, Discogs.
yeah. Because I've found even in the
Yeah,
last year. that's
I've
been-
put stuff off thinking I know where to find it. It's in every thrift store, like 20 of them. And then as soon as that artist dies or there's a movie made about him or something, gone.
Yeah, not just brand new albums, but like in anywhere you go, like half price books or whatever it is, good luck, you're not finding it.
Here's the craziest thing, like Thriller, an album that has sold a bajillion copies.
Oh.
You aren't going to find that on vinyl unless it's one of like the new
Yeah, who's
re-releases
hoarding those?
that's on a picture disc or something terrible.
That's not true. I have
thanks.
found 4 versions of it in like the last 6 months, just on the shelf, dying. Because since
Well,
the
now
whole
we know
thing,
who owns them.
yeah, it's some
So
reason.
you bought all 4 of them.
No. Like,
Thanks.
listen, I'm not. I was never that like into Michael Jackson. Even as a kid, I was not. Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story.
Oh, please.
When I was a kid, when asked what I want to do when I grow up, I would say I want to be Michael Jackson.
And
Did you have the red leather jacket?
I did not. No, I didn't have any gear. I didn't have anything else. But I was just like, I want to be this person. I want to be this cool.
did you want to be the Corey Feldman version of Michael Jackson, or?
Oh,
Whoa. This conversation just took a sharp turn.
Yeah, we were
Real
talking about
quick.
Michael Jackson. But when I bring up Corey Feldman, that's when it takes a dark turn.
That's when it gets weird. It wasn't weird before, but you made it weird.
videos of his performances on like late night talk shows are intense. I can't say I enjoy his music or maybe his acting, but man,
Wasn't there
he
one where
is
somebody lost a
spectacle.
tooth?
You think about that
I
Jackass
haven't seen
movie?
that. I'm gonna look that right now.
'Cause I think he like did something and like, or it was him. Like one of his teeth fell out in the
Him
middle of
or
a
an
performance.
audience member? Interesting.
I just remember seeing like videos of him on MTV in clubs with the full Michael Jackson thing, doing like a performance as Michael Jackson. I just wonder how much he regrets that now.
No, I think he's owning it.
might as well lean into it. You gotta have something.
Yeah.
What happened? I
His
love
corner
all of
market.
his movies in the 80s. Like anything that Corey Feldman was in the 80s was amazing. But like
yeah.
what happened? Like I don't understand. Like he's such a weirdo now. Like did it like what happened?
Oh, well, the same could be said for Michael Jackson. He was so cool in the 80s, but then turned into a weirdo.
I know I've been reading some shit. Like Elton John has been saying some
Isolation.
shit. And he's saying that even in the 80s he was wacko weird.
Yeah, so was Elton John. I would take that shit
So you
with a
know
grain of
it's
salt.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We go way off the rails here. It's amazing.
So-
I love this fucking
You guys have.
that-
I'm impressed with the scene you guys have coalescing and circulating around you guys. It's like Minneapolis and Finland right now are
It's so
becoming the
weird.
competing synthwave headquarters.
It's so weird.
I don't know, though. I feel like Portland is like the zone for that, though, because they're always having shows out there, live shows.
Yeah, but did they land
Oh,
Robert Parker and God? Who did Yuha landed somebody else for?
I know they've had all those people out in Portland.
Yeah, probably. But like, what I'm saying is like Yuha, who's Millennium Falk, put together the Helsinki Synthwave Fest, and he landed for their particular little group. He landed Nina, Robert Parker, Betamax, maybe. There's some other, or no, Tokyo Rose. So they're all playing the Helsinki Synth Fest out there, which is really impressive. We're like, yeah, Portland
It's
obviously.
totally nuts.
Like Portland, obviously, like it's on the West Coast. It's you could travel there pretty easily if you're already a West Coast, because it isn't like I forget who's all on the West Coast, but that's sort of a thing that you go to. I didn't even.
Where's Jules' synthwave map on Twitter?
Yeah, seriously, we need to get that.
Yeah, bring it up right now.
Yeah.
Where is everything?
Where is everybody located currently? Yeah, it's a weird. I have
So what do you guys have near you in your neighborhood?
lots of people.
I can't keep track. And is everyone like joining a club, or are people like staying totally independent of what's becoming a official scene?
Right. So what you're referring to is Nitrowave TC. I just want for
Yes.
those that are listening. All of the people that are of any note or have a scene are pretty much part of it. Some people are more active than others. Like Bad and Rad.
Is there anyone that is not performing yet? Like still bedroom artists that just are not
Yes.
buying
There's
into
a
live performance
few.
like me?
There are a few people that haven't played a show yet. With the particular scene that we have, the goal is to get everyone in front of an audience. So there's maybe three. I think there's 3 people associated with Nitrowave that have yet to perform live, at least under their moniker of what they're doing currently. Like yourself, they've had other musical projects in the past, and this is just the next evolution. But I think there's 3, but I think there's like 15 or 16 people involved with like artists involved in Nitrowave.
Oh my god.
And you think
That's
about
more than I expected.
yeah. So there's a lot of things happening that we haven't really like put out there yet because they're working on an album or they're being shy right now.
I mean, you could be part of Nitrowave TC if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll gladly have you.
Yeah, please. But yeah, so it's crazy we've got Galaxy 80, which is just to me it's kind of weird that he's part of it. But then, some of the other people that are Badass Wolf Shirt, I don't know if how many people are so familiar with what he just released an album, Custom Teeth, which is pretty badass.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar with that.
Yeah, so he's like a
right now.
like dark wave witch house kind of stuff. His merchandise is really cool, actually.
Witch House. I haven't heard of that before. I like that.
So witch house is like
That's one of those genres I cannot get a handle on. Like it seems like even more than how people say synthwave is kind of fractured and splintered into a huge spectrum. I cannot get my head around everything that Witch House encompasses.
I mean, do you even bother? You just like you go for it. You know what I mean? Like people just make shit up.
It's like chillwave, grime, trap, goth. It's like any mixture of those in your Witch House.
Yeah, and like there's rap artists,
Cat
like there's
house.
people rapping over witch house stuff, which is what I saw like Boz is associated with somebody who's rapping over.
That sounds like SoundCloud territory.
yeah.
Yes.
It is, but it's it's like these creepy, like dark wave kind of aesthetic with hip hop beats in the background and then a dude
Yeah.
or someone rapping over the top of it, which I'm actually not offended by. Some of the stuff that I've heard, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually surprisingly good. So and like with Nitrowave, it's a bunch of people. It's not confined to like one particular genre. It's like we have people that are all over the place, all over the map. Chill wave, dark wave, traditional synthwave, cinematic. So it's a pretty cool thing. And
How many of those are vocal acts too?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Really, it's all instrumental groups.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, that's my preferred
Yeah.
way to take in synthwave is no vocals, but not that I'm
I've been
opposed to
resisting
it.
that with my own work forever. Like when I started making music, it was part of being in bands, and then when I got sick of being in a scene that only supported pub cover bands, I started doing solo stuff for years and years, and collaborated with plenty of musicians, but never vocalists. And surprisingly, after a couple of Cat Temper albums, people would constantly tell me, this would be great with try adding a singer or something. So
Mike, have you seen that meme?
next year,
Have you seen? I don't mean to interrupt you, but have you seen the meme where it's
no,
like
go on.
it's like synthwave music, and there's some dude like extremely excited about it, and then it's like synthwave music with vocals, and it's like someone really sad about it.
Oh. Yeah, there's definitely a split in perception about it. Like at
Quality.
first, I was kind of hesitant to dip my ear into that pool, but I'm around. Certain people have convinced me, and I decided I was going to try an album of guest vocalists, and that is actually coming together much better than I expected. It's very surprising, especially surprising to see what people are doing with my tracks that is out of my control. I'm letting them do whatever they want, writing lyrics. Everyone's writing cat theme lyrics for some reason, which is nice. But
I wonder why.
yeah, it's going to be an interesting release. It's like I said, I've got one in the can right now to come out early next year, and then whenever this one is finished, will be the one after that. And it's going to be some people that are not typically associated with the synthwave scene or even electronic music, and a couple of familiar faces.
Well, that's keeping it fresh too. I think that bringing people in that may not be part of that scene could be a good thing for it.
And I've gotten about 100 rejection letters from the people I thought I would contact that are some of my favorite eclectic, interesting singers that just were not down with the cat thing for some reason.
Maybe not yet.
Not yet.
They were nice about it, though. Yes, they'll regret it.
Be careful.
I'm going to lord this over everyone.
You should. It's funny that no one cares about you until all of a sudden you're important.
Yes, or dead.
Or dead.
So,
That's
one or
the
the other.
thing. It's like what Elliott Smith didn't become wildly popular until he died.
Yep.
Which is an
I know
interesting...
how many albums have been put. It's like him and Tupac are competing for the number of.
Tupac.
I need to hurry up and die is what I need to do.
Yeah, but you have nothing to
You're
sell.
gonna be so productive
Whoa.
when you're dead.
What are you selling after you're dead?
It's disappointment, mainly. I don't know.
Didn't Pauly Shore made a movie about Pauly Shore is dead, about kind of like that running gag that he wasn't important until he pretended to die.
Interesting. I didn't know about that. This is the first I've heard of it,
off my
actually.
radar.
Yeah.
Same
So
here.
what I hear, like I saw the movie, and there's actually some like flashes of like, oh, I can understand why he was popular when he was, because there's like some of that, like there's flashes of brilliance, and you're like, oh my god, I get this. But like, I mean, did either one of you like Son-in-Law or like Encino Man?
I didn't see Son-in-Law. I did see Encino Man.
Yeah, me neither.
But so,
What did you feel about Encino Man?
not much.
It was good for what it is.
You didn't see
I mean, you
Biodome?
have certain expectations going in. Oh, Biodome, yeah.
That's the last.
I mean,
good
those
movie.
have a pretty low bar going in. So.
But I saw that more as a Baldwin movie.
Yeah, that's the last good movie he was in. Because his Usual
He's still
Suspects.
making movies?
No, well, he's
Oh,
like
yep.
super Christian now, I think.
Who?
Yep.
Stephen Baldwin. I'm pretty sure he's super down with God Squad.
Him and
God,
who's
which
that
Baldwin
other
was
actor
in
from the sitcom?
the new Wending thing?
Oh,
Was it Billy?
Billy Baldwin was in
Ah,
that
it's
one.
Billy Baldwin. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's still keeping his cool
There's an
factor.
endless supply of Baldwins.
Yeah, it's like there's more. It's like Wayans brothers. How many of them are there? We don't know. There's more.
Wait till the sisters come out.
Yeah. I want to loop back around to, I mean, like,
Oh yeah, the
some of
enemy.
your influences and things like that. And it, like, with, you were kind of making the comment that, like, what you're doing, you were kind of doing the same thing you're doing in the back of the day, and now people have kind of looped back around into what you're doing. Is there,
Yeah.
were you into, like, movies and culture and kind of a particular time frame that influenced your mindset to making this music now, or is it just like it comes from you, it is what it is?
Probably more towards that, but there are certain bands that certainly I can't escape the influence of. Nine Inch Nails, anything Trent Reznor did when he started that was a huge influence on me and probably the rest of the world. Devo, growing up,
Yeah.
I think you can probably hear that in my current stuff.
Yes.
A lot of the Wax Tracks and network bands like Skinny Puppy,
There you
Severed
go.
Heads.
So, like,
I was
okay,
actually pulling out older stuff today and forgot about the Swamp Terrorists. Have you guys heard of them?
no, what?
I
They're
don't.
an
I
early
have not.
90s kind of industrial band with sampled guitars and growly vocals. And I
Okay.
was like, oh, I think these guys had an influence on me without me even realizing it.
Probably. That's cool. So, did you ever get into like Coil and?
Oh,
even-
definitely, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty
Nurse
sweet.
with Wound, Legendary Pink Dots type stuff. Yeah, all the stuff that verged on noise and even the more ambient stuff that was less music and more about pure sound in general. But I'm always trying to take whatever influences and kind of mold it into a palatable sound, kind of like how Madonna stole the whole voguing thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just like Madonna, guys.
Obviously that's like exactly where I was going with this whole point. Is that you're just like
Timelessly sexy.
You got it. That's why I wear the mask. I don't want too many people to get burned by my beautiful radiance.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It's a relatable thing, problem
Yeah.
to have. Yeah. No, I mean, good for you. I mean, you're just being humble, and I get that. You want the
Yeah,
music
yeah.
to speak.
I'm not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, you hate the sound, or you hate the look of your face just for purely personal reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so because like listening to music, like it's very listenable, and hearing some of your influences, like I can hear aspects of what you're talking about. So it's very interesting that in some ways, like they're almost like tone artists or like mood.
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe them.
And you take it does seem like what you do is like you take some of those aspects and then you put them in a digestible, and I don't hope this is offensive, but like catchy or like like
Yeah,
likable format where it's not like you can listen to it, you can jam out to it. There's not really anything that is grating about it. You're not like just throwing like again like Unholy Rat King is more about the mood, and like he's selling a whole kind of like experience or like a horror like movie soundtrack, and that kind of like you were listening to a horror movie soundtrack
or you're in a horror movie.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like
Yeah, I love stuff like what he's doing, and a lot of the stuff I listened to in my formative years, I would say most people don't even consider to be music. And but I know that people prefer music, so I distill the things that I like about it and find to be musical and emphasize those. So I'm not sure any of the noisier, more abstract influences come through it all, but it's definitely there. I can consciously see where I'm kind of transforming it into something more palatable.
So what did you do to celebrate Pretty Hate Machine's, I think, 30th anniversary?
30th, yeah.
Yeah, that surprised me. I still feel like that just came out.
That's exactly how
There's
I
gonna be a
felt.
flood of these seminal releases all of a sudden that are going to be like 30, 40 years old. It's going to kill us. I actually, as soon as I saw that was the 30th anniversary, I saw someone mentioning that his demos for that were available, and I've always heard legendary stories of how he made that album as like stealing time at a studio he was a janitor at in the evening, and living with his grandmother or something. And I know he was in some kind of cheesy pop bands at the time that he was trying to break out.
What is the
So
band? Exotic Birds. He was in
Exotic Birds. Yep. They actually appeared in a Michael J. Fox film and Justine Bateman film. I can't remember.
That is awesome.
It was pretty bad. Yep. Awesome. That's what I meant. Pretty awesome.
Pretty amazing.
So yeah, I tracked down the demos, which you can find pretty easily now. And it's amazing the contrast of what he recorded pre-hooking up with
Flood
and the other producers on that. Like I had a peek into an alternate timeline where his original version of Pretty Hate Machine came out, and the whole musical landscape since then just disappeared in my eyes.
See,
as soon as Pretty Hate Machine came out, I could see the future. Like, this is just going to transform everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, every miserable band is going to trade in their a synth and 20 effects pedals.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like when, like you definitely can feel the wave of change and like possibility, and I think it's like the breaking the rules and showing people like what you can do really is what because like it's very infinitely listenable. Like Pretty Hate Machine is a fairly popish record. I haven't heard the demos, but even being popish,
they're pretty bad. I mean, he sets a high bar with that debut album, but so maybe if I didn't have that already, filling my brain, it might sound better. But I don't know, some of the decisions on there are pretty strange. Like even the melodies are much more major key, sunshinier sounding with the same words even.
Interesting.
So they made the right choice in the
Well, yeah, Flood. I mean, you think about
smoothing
what
that
Flood
out.
did. He did Violator. He did Songs of Faith and Devotion, and he's got a whole other bunch of stuff that's like when you're like, holy, this dude is amazing. As far as like, he has a very particular sound and way that he polishes records and has a stamp signature, if you will.
Magician.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you hear that?
Yeah, and I'm a huge industrial fan from way back. And, Skinny Puppy and Ministry and Ice Crescendo, like I said.
There you go.
And
What's
as
your
soon as
favorite
I heard
Ministry album?
Nine Inch Nails, I was like, Land of Rape and Honey, probably, just for Stigmata. That was my introduction to them. And actually, my first band was a Ministry cover band with all Casio keyboards.
Oh shit!
Which may explain.
That's awesome.
I just had more expensive keyboards.
Can I do you have any music recorded? Because I want this in my
I was reminiscing about it with someone who was in the town I lived in at the time, and there's no recording of that, unfortunately.
I am so
Well,
sad.
shit.
Not that
I
would
just got
let it out
really
anyway,
excited.
But I really wanted one for myself.
Seriously,
I only saw a brief video clip one time. I may need to recreate that.
You
Please?
maybe you
Please?
should do that also.
I feel that this is a good direction to go in for Cat Temper.
Thank you.
Personally, With Sympathy is my favorite Ministry record.
I'm glad that Al is finally coming around and embracing those first two early albums that he decided to shit on for most of his history, and
I understand where he's coming from.
Journalists about.
Yeah, I understand where he's
It's
coming from.
if he was so embarrassed by them, I just didn't understand why he even kept the same band name.
Seriously,
He had to have some inkling of enjoying them, and that I'm kind of glad that Trent Reznor, for the extreme directions he went after Pretty Hate Machine, never looked back at that and apologized for it or felt embarrassed for it.
Did you?
It really opened up the whole world to him and allowed him to introduce, those noisier, more aggressive, abstract things to a general audience, which you're in everything now. It's awesome.
Absolutely, it's insane. The shit that if you try to play, Downward Spiral, other than the Closer or any other, they would just get out of here with that now. But you hear it in major pop bands now, or pop artists taking elements from Nine Inch Nails and Ministry and incorporating some of those noise, sort of almost industrial kind of things into their music now.
Yeah, the things he would spend weeks experimenting with countless pieces of broken gear are distilled down into a keyboard setting button now. It's like a standard sound.
I can't imagine agonizing
Which I still like.
over sound.
It's kind of oversaturated, but
yeah. I don't know, do you like Gary Newman?
Oh yeah, totally. Another big influence.
So
his minimal wave stuff.
Yeah, so if you see interviews with him and he talks about just designing sound on the Moog and the stuff that he does, especially off of replicas or Pleasure Principle, that shit, he spent so much time designing and creating those sounds, agonizing, and now it's just a setting. As you said, it's just there it is, there's the sound. But he actually had to design that stuff and figure it out and turn it into a thing. So, I mean, I've got I really like Gary Newman. I wish we would have went and saw him when he came to town, but I don't know.
I'm sorry.
That's one of the things that, there's so many synthwave artists and albums popping up every day, just exponentially.
Seriously. Yes.
And fortunately, it's a genre that I can't get enough of, and even the mediocre stuff has elements that I enjoy about it, but
Yes.
you can, it's part of it is it's like horror movies in people's minds. It's something that is conceivably easy for someone with even the most basic iPhone or iPad to make without spending much, without having much music experience. And the things that really stand out to me are when you can just tell by the way um, the sonic palette is that people are actually designing their own sounds or taking it a step further of actually how their vintage gear works instead of just pulling up the same purchased patches.
Right.
Now that you say that, I wanted to ask. So, like, what kind of gear do you usually use when you create your music?
I'm almost entirely in the box these days. I actually sold most of my gear, regretfully, very regretfully, years ago when I moved and I was hurting for space and some cash. I mostly use Reason. I still
Hey, brother,
have
I feel
my
you.
Casio CZ101 and a base station. But I have my commute to work is killer, so it's afforded me a lot of productivity time that I wouldn't have normally if I was relying on having to go to a studio every day.
So what
So,
got you?
but I still,
Go ahead.
make most of my patches from scratch.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy doing, and the actual songs evolve out of just sound and tweaking patches, just the pleasure of coming up with weird, funky sounds. Um, the songs melodies kind of write themselves around those.
I was gonna ask you, like, how do you start a song? Like, do you start with like a melody or a bass line or a drum line or like a concept? Like, how do those
It's
things come
almost
together?
always just from trying to build patches, or anytime I try to do something in a more traditional way, like come up with a melody or just start banging away on drum pads, it never comes out satisfactory. It's got to be more like turning off my brain, just playing with sound design, and then uh, my fingers just follow what sounds best for particular patches and particular waveforms oscillating. And then everything's built around whatever core weirdness comes out of that. And sometimes I'll even delete that original experiment once I have a song done.
Okay.
But coming at it in like actual music writing never works for me.
Okay.
Which
do
is
you have
kind
a
of unfortunate
background?
because I couldn't market myself as a soundtrack person or a game person where I actually can predict like what kind of mood or tone I'm going to go for. I have a vague idea in general, but nothing ever comes out as I plan it.
I just forgot what I was going to ask.
I'm waving my hands like a Jedi Master.
Like, do you have a formal training in music for a background?
Just what most kids got in elementary and middle school. A few piano lessons, I played drums and percussion through school.
There you go. Yeah.
But was totally interested in electronic music, which none of my friends were. And I just started buying whatever I could afford, cheap Casios and working my way up, noodling, making my own weird synth album demos. Fortunately, none of those are ever going to end up online. But all the metalheads I hung around with would really pick on me for the Casio drums and the Synsonics and cheap, drum machines I was using in my music, which just made me dig my heels in more. And you're gonna hear Casio drums somehow in every song I've made ever since.
And little did they know now that's what's in.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I can't believe how things have swung around, which just makes me love synthwave more, especially races that whole metalhead aesthetic of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like totally taken over that whole aesthetic. I don't know any other way to put it.
Well, it seems like synthwave, and maybe probably to a larger extent dark wave, is the genre of electronic music that metalheads love. That you could get a metalhead.
I still can't figure that out, but as someone who grew up loving metal as much as anything else, I totally feel it. I can't explain it.
It's weird though.
You
It's
think
almost a
on
natural
paper,
progression.
Yeah, I feel like if you, especially like if you look at the fans in general, like who they are, like if you like horror movies or you like 80s culture, like music in movies is so like absolutely essential to the whole experience that like I don't feel it's that much of a stretch if you like John Carpenter, for instance, like his music's so iconic in his movies, it's as important as the movie itself, and then you just switch that to like the dark tones and then get rid of the movie and then make it listenable, and there you go, you got metal people loving it. Because like Perturbator,
That totally explains it for me. You kind of like just opened a whole new window for me. I don't know why that didn't occur to me before.
yeah. Like if you listen to like Perturbator, like I really love Perturbator. I know Kyle really loves Perturbator. He literally makes like especially the early albums, like to Blade Runner, to like some of these very iconic 80s movies, and that's his influence to making a particular album. It makes a lot of sense. And you know, Ghost and Perturbator and, you know, Dance with the Dead. Like Dance with the Dead is more like thrash mixed with horror movies. It makes sense to me that metal heads would really like that genre of music, and just open up like oh hey, I can like a fairly upbeat, aggressive or creepy kind of music without vocals, in essence.
It's like combining two of your favorite things into one.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like synthwave does, or like in general, like it combines various aspects of different things together, and you're like, and it turns into a thing that you just absolutely love.
You know, you say that it's like a time that you liked being alive.
Yeah.
The 80s, if you were our age.
Yeah.
And then like cool music
And you
and put
blocked
it
out
together.
all the bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have fond
Well,
memories.
you guys seem pretty accepting of kind of all the different tentacles, directions that synthwave seems to have gone into since the Valerie days and
Oh, absolutely.
since Drive. Do you have a limit to that, or are you pretty much open to anything? Do you think synthwave even works as a genre tag anymore?
You know what, I do, because it's, you know, like the umbrella thing for everything. It works for a lot of stuff. And that was why I asked you, you know, do you consider yourself synthwave? But definitely, just give all of it to me. I want more. I want to discover things that I didn't know I liked. Like when I first found your album, it was somebody just threw up like, hey, on Facebook, they were like, hey, check out this album, you know, in the Synthwave Vinyl Collectors group. It was like, you people should check this out. This is pretty cool. Of course, I checked it out and I instantly bought the vinyl.
Wow,
Yeah.
you're the one.
So I
Thank you.
know, one of the few. So thank you for putting out an album on vinyl for me to be able to get.
And it seems to be like the special thing was like, it's when you put out the vinyl and you put out the physical thing to what you're doing, it makes it more special. And I think like synthwave is a mindset. It's not necessarily a genre, but it's a way of thinking or way of combining certain aspects together. That yes, there is the retro aspect, but it's so much more broad than that. Because like, do you like movie, like, you know, soundtracks? Do you like, you know, like,
Do you like cool things is basically now what it is in a nutshell is, do you like cool things? Hey, check out this album because it's about cool things.
right? And that's what I love
can go
about it.
along with that.
Yeah, you can have a concept, you can have you could be like cinematic and you'd be like, I wrote this album to a pretend movie that I made up in my imagination, and here's the soundtrack to that movie. It doesn't exist, but it's really sweet. Or it could be, more traditional kinds of music. And, and I just love because it's not confined, there's so much creativity to it. And that's what makes it exciting, is like, overall, it's like, I don't really know that there are limits. It's a mindset. That's why I say it's more of a mindset than it is a particular genre, because you can be trapped into an aesthetic, or you can be like, I'm going to combine a bunch of stuff together that I love. And then, because like I dabbled in making music a long time ago, and no one responded to it because they're like, they didn't understand the soundtrack stuff. They didn't understand like the mashing of all the genres together. And so it didn't connect with people. But now it's like people are really craving like a combination of everything that they love and really connect to it.
Yeah, I'm so glad for that. And I am glad to hear the way you describe it, because the people that are really making me excited are the ones that are really going in unexpected directions, and even like album to album, like Alpha Chrome Yayo or someone.
Right.
And it
Alpha,
makes
good guy.
me excited because I can't predict where synthwave is going to go next. And while some people are trying to cling to a very strict palette, I'm like, just give me whatever.
Give it all to me. That's what I would give it all to me.
Give it all, because like, and that's what makes it exciting. It makes it not stagnant. What I hate is like, there's all these sub-fractured genres of like, metal, and people get really like attached. You know what I mean? Like, it's metal, I find, is much more
every
pretentious.
Day there's a new like 20
there's
subgenres. I can't follow them.
And they're really like adamant about like, this is the only thing you're allowed to listen to. Like, you're only allowed to listen to this particular genre of metal, where synthwave is just an overall umbrella, and you can play in whatever that sounds like, whatever that ends up being like. And so you're not trapped. And myself growing up, like, I love soundtracks, I love techno, I love metal, I love folk. I mean, whatever it is, I've never been stuck to a particular thing that I'm really like, I only listen to this thing. And synthwave is always surprising and interesting, and I'm excited to who is going to do the next thing that's going to be whatever it is. And if it's video game music or 8-bit or 16-bit, or they take an aspect of some other genre and throw it into it. It's
Country synth.
Country synth. My God.
Oh, I think Synth Redneck has you covered there.
Oh yeah, synthwave redneck. It's amazing. He does actually. This is kind of his whole shtick is.
This is news to me. I don't know.
Some of his tracks lean towards that.
So Kyle's not on Twitter,
going there.
so he doesn't get exposed to all of the the various things. And I keep trying to like, hey dude, you need to get on Twitter, and he's like, I don't know what the internet is.
How much social medias can one person do, and yet have like a job and a life at the same time?
I have to say that the synthwave scene is probably the only reason I stuck on Twitter at all. Like,
it's amazing.
Everything else is so toxic or just backstabbing or garbage.
That's the one thing I've noticed, that like, yes, the synthwave scene is all inclusive, friendly, and just like helpful, and it's not bad at all. It's not terrible. There aren't awful people like there are in other scenes. And
well, I mean, there are like closed off people. Like, there are certain people like you try to, and I'm not going to name names, but like
name them.
No, I'm not going to. But you know who they are. Like, if you follow the genre of music, there are some artists that are more accessible than others. And what I love about synthwave is like,
artists are very accessible.
Yeah, the artists are like, they, like yourself or whoever it is, like, want to reach out, want to talk, want to make that kind of connection to fans. And yes, there are, and if you follow it, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The folks that charge lots of money for a VIP package to maybe get your album signed, maybe. it happens. But that's actually the exception and not the rule. Whereas like any other genre, like you just don't have the access to the artist in the same kind of the emotional connection, if you will, to the artist in other genres of music, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, unbelievably so. Like I've had some amazing conversations with people at all rungs of that ladder. Like even some of those people I think you're talking about that are more of the breakout people or trying to associate themselves with more of a mainstream world.
You're picking up exactly what I'm laying down. you get exactly what I'm saying.
You know what we're talking about.
You know what we're talking about, exactly. So, like, do you find that, like, your interaction, do you find that, like, the audience in general is much more engaged with you now with this particular project versus other things that you've done in the past?
Oh, totally. Like, I've always considered anything I do ultra niche, and always been thankful. You know, even if there's one person listening, it's kind of gravy to me. That's kind of a cliche for indie musicians to say, kind of like where they're asked. But I'm astounded that anyone that wants to listen to this stuff that I'm putting out, and enough that I am able to, sell a full run of vinyl. It just blows my mind.
And congratulations, because that's expensive.
Telling me that. So, yeah, oh yeah. Whew. Yeah, this is the first time I've released something where I've kind of broken even and not had boxes piled in the attic.
And congratulations. You definitely, you deserve it. I don't have your second album on vinyl yet. I will buy it. I will listen. I will buy
Laser Steel.
Okay, I'll get it. But like I love the fact that like you put it out there, you have a thing, and it's like this memento. And I think like again, we talk about synthwave as like a mindset, and that mindset is having tangible things that you can appreciate. And I think that people in the genre who are at least appreciate the genre appreciate maybe more subtle things or more tangible things. Like that's what like vinyl or cassettes, like to me it still blows my mind that there's now an uptick in vinyl or in cassette sales. Like that's absolutely insane to me that like you could do a run of cassettes and people are going to buy them.
Yeah, like I'd be satisfied just to spend the money to do a vinyl run so I can have my own copy. So
well, damn right.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Like I think of it, lightly or with hubris. I'm so grateful that I'm able to get out there and people are actually listening to it, putting it in their collections, not just like being patronizing friends or family or something.
Yeah. I mean, we like Kyle and I, we both come in as a fan of your work and have physical versions of your album, and like that's the thing I like. There's that tangible connection with the artist and the packaging and the design and everything. Like I remember Trent Reznor actually lamenting about the downfall of vinyl because you.
Oh, I remember this.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. And now it's come back full circle where it's like the only growth in the music industry other than digital like streaming is vinyl. I think there was like 1,000% growth in vinyl last year. And it's all like niche stuff.
Everything that I buy on Bandcamp, it's pretty rare when it has a UPC, or I'm going to guess any kind of sales tracking at all. So I see those numbers as grossly conservative or underestimated.
That's true. That's interesting that you mentioned that. It's like I was looking at some of my records the other day, and I did see a UPC on one of them, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen one of these on a record in a long time. And then there was another thing where New Retro Wave was, touting that one of their releases was on a top chart. Like it placed number 5. It's like number 5 best selling.
Oh.
And I was like, who's tracking this and how are they tracking it? But
Yeah, how are these numbers generated? Like, I've always considered it some kind of gaming system, so I'm always skeptical of it. But when I do see like genuine underground bands or labels charting on a somewhat legitimate source, it totally blows my mind. Makes me smile, even if I don't like them. Just that they've kind of broken into that club.
so something is happening at that
When
point.
I put my download cards in thrift store albums, in all those Michael Jackson albums, I'm gonna hit the charts. I figured it out.
So, I mean, going off of the vinyl thing, there's, been questions that I've wanted to ask you about that. So, Purring for Vengeance, was that just strictly you doing that as an independent release?
Yes, totally. And that was totally like taking a big gamble and just testing the waters. I had no expectations that was going to sell at all, and I can't believe I don't have a box of those sitting. And you guys know Laser Steel Records.
And that was going to be my follow-up question. Yeah.
I became friendly with him. He discovered me, and he's a great guy. I love what he does just to support the scene and to make it more accessible, especially for us Americans. And I couldn't be like more humbled and thrilled that he took the gamble to make Cat Temper his first
number 1
label release.
Yeah, and for those who don't
I
know,
him a lot, and
sorry, keep going.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say, for those who don't know, Laser Steel Records is the North American distributor for Electronic Purification Records and Time Slave Recordings.
Yep.
In addition to doing his own thing, which you are a part of.
Yeah.
So is there like...
I've been associated with maybe a half dozen indie labels in the past for other projects. And you end up doing most of the work yourself anyway.
Right.
As an artist for these.
And still being disappointed at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then not getting a check. So
right.
But he has been totally on the up and up. He's been great as far as keeping his word in things and promoting. He has kind of a built-in audience with the distribution side of it, but he's got some really great releases planned for later this year and early next year that I'm not going to give away right now. A couple of other people that are on his advisory board, I guess you could call it, that he bounces his plans and ideas off of, are trying to rein him down and not let the cat out of the bag too soon, so to speak. But yeah, expect some cool releases from Laser Steel coming soon that I can't wait to get my hands on. I think people have been repeatedly wishing were on vinyl.
I mean, isn't that such a great thing? Like, there's this energy, there's a momentum behind this whole thing where you don't find it. Like, I feel like we're in a secret club and people don't really know about it, and it's like the last thing. It's like, when you discover a band they might be sort of like on the poppier side of like your taste, but you have a sense that they're going to be huge and you can't get anyone to listen to them, and then they have that one hit and they blow up to be the biggest thing ever, and you're like, I fucking told you so. Like, it's like that, but I don't know that there's necessarily a danger of it becoming unattainable, maybe.
I'm always wondering who it's going to be, too. If it's someone that has been, really working, putting out quality stuff, radio-friendly stuff, whether it's getting radio play or not, or if it's going to be someone that just comes in and kind of co-ops the whole scene.
It's gonna be a 13-year-old Dutch
isn't even
boy.
a part of it. Oh, good.
Well, you see, that
I'd
is
get
the
on
thing,
board
though.
for
Like,
that.
you never know, and it's when it comes to vinyl releases too. If you aren't getting something as soon as it drops in the synthwave scene, you could miss out. Like, you've got to get it when the getting's good.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
there is that
I have
too.
mixed feelings about that. Like, first of all, I'm glad that people, independent musicians, and it's usually just one person doing everything themselves. It's not even like a full band. That they find the will and the means to actually put something out that they can share with the people who would appreciate it. So, if they could put 10 out, that I'm going to give them props for that. But yeah, you really have to sit there at midnight, refreshing your page, hoping that you're going to be one of the people that once they start getting popular. And
it's both frustrating
it's
and
disappointing
exciting.
when you don't. But yeah,
It's definitely reduced my life by small increments, all the releases for that. And it's just like when I got your album, Purring for Vengeance, I had mentioned before, someone was like, you need to check this album out. There's only a few copies left. And it's like, well, shit, I need to go right away and get this. I cannot miss out on it.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a good marketing scheme.
it is.
There's actually one label I can think of that is getting more and more criticism from people catching on that they pull the store closing liquidation sale thing all too often, like every week, and it's like, oh wait, we have 300 green copies that we didn't mention when you said this was
we know where
only
you're
gonna
going with
be
this.
100 copies.
And we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thankfully, those are in the minority, but unfortunately, most of my favorite bands are associated with them too.
And
So
I
you gotta
feel this
kinda
pain.
Feel the
bear it.
pain. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of which, there's a release coming out Friday, which I need to get, but unfortunately it's...
Kyle, how much did you spend on records last week?
Oh my goodness, I dropped $600 on vinyl last weekend.
Oh my god!
There,
Holy crap.
but
my
you know,
synthesizer for that.
yeah, it's it wasn't strictly synthwave stuff. There were a video game vinyl on it as well, which is my other huge weakness. But last weekend was real rough. Oof.
So I got two questions for you. How are you finding space for this stuff? Like, have you run out of room? Do you have to pick and choose what is on display?
Yeah, it's in my stuff is piled in different parts of my apartment. It's getting a little
you
out
can
of
always go
control.
vertical. And my other question, when you bring up the video game vinyl, I know there's a couple of like totally underground labels that put out bootleg video game vinyl. Do you collect that? I almost got into that, but I thought that is a rabbit hole too deep that my limited funds
Correct.
I'm not going to throw at.
It's
That
that's
fascinates me, that whole world.
that's very
And
true.
their packaging is really clever. It inspires me. But no, I'm not going there.
You know what? It's a scene that I really love. And unfortunately, I cannot control how much money I spend on it either.
Where do you find time to listen to stuff?
uh
Oh wait, is that a sore subject too?
maybe a little bit. It's something I'm working on.
I always think, when I'm retired and the country's walled off from the rest of the world and I can't afford to go anywhere, I still have my wind-up record player or, Dixie cup and a pen, and all this vinyl will finally pay off in entertainment time.
It's good. Whenever I get a chance, I do like to play what I have. As I don't know, I guess you could say gotten older and my interests have changed. I do spend a lot more time listening to music than I used to. And the weird thing is like, there's that snippet, that fact out there that, after you get out of high school, you aren't searching for new music. You aren't looking for the cool things as much anymore as you used to. I feel now that as someone who's about to turn 38 years old, that I am looking for and actively searching for more new music now than I ever have in my life.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
That makes me so happy. I'm so sad whenever I see anyone with the opposite point of view, and it seems to be the majority case.
And
I just don't get it at all.
I think I absolutely am latched into both of what you're saying. So there's a statistic that basically says after you're 15, your musical taste is set. And so some of the things I would say to Kyle would be what you're pursuing, does it actually tie in to your 15-year-old self or sensibilities of things that you liked at that age? Because synthwave might be a newer genre of music, but it relies heavily on nostalgia. And do you know what I mean? So are you really on the bleeding edge of what's out there, or are you liking things that remind you of things from growing up, but then in a new shiny package?
I feel like this is playing towards more things that I think are cool. So I don't know if I'd say exactly nostalgia.
Okay.
Sure, that could influence a little bit, but here's what I think's cool. This goes along with it. This is the thing for me. I can be more interested in this style of music now, and I'm finding more new things because of that. So there.
Okay. Because it's
you still go to shows and everything too.
Yes, definitely.
I'd say the people who are around that age that refuse to listen to anything else than the same 15 songs on rotation are probably not going out as often either. So
probably, I think that's a very accurate statement. And maybe again, we talk about synthwave as a mindset. So it maybe defies age a little bit, because people that continually seek out new stimulus and new ideas and new things to play around with, this genre of music really speaks to that group of people, where the average person, it's I read this thing, it's Metallica is the biggest metal band or band in the world simply because they're playing off 3 different ages of nostalgia that is attributed to them. Because you have thrash.
That didn't even occur to me.
Yeah. So you have their 80s, their early 80s kind of stuff. You've got their late 80s and their 90s stuff, and now that we're at this in the almost 2020 now, so they're playing off of 3 different eras of interest in their band, and they sell out stadiums, especially in the Midwest. Where we're at, Metallica is the biggest thing. I hear that they make all of their money off of the Midwest.
That's insane.
Wow.
That can't be true.
And
then there's that whole scene that just likes them for the Lou Reed collaboration. I'm probably overestimating that by saying there's more than one person who likes it. And he's probably in the band. Yeah, I had my Metallica phase, but
and that's the thing,
again,
they've been
once
around.
They put out their Batman soundtrack equivalent, I kind of died off.
Which is Load or Reload.
Yes,
that's
probably earlier than that.
And I don't mean
I think
to
the
be.
Black Album is where I jumped ship.
See, interesting. So that's my introduction to Metallica, because I have an older brother.
Okay,
and
so you're right. There are the several generations.
And that's my introduction to Metallica. Was I didn't know about the other shit until I was much older, but the Black Album was my introduction, because I was listening to it. My brother is 7 years older, so he's in his 40s. So let's just say that he's in his 40s. And so the whole 80s, Poison and Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue.
I'm getting excited right now.
Yeah. So that's I was submitted to that.
That's why you hate it, because your older brother liked that shit. Now I know why.
Maybe that could be it. I mean, but I don't mind Guns N' Roses. Motley Crue bugs the shit out of me. Vince Neil's voice, I've never liked. I can't help it.
Don't look at his voice.
I can't help it. But Dr. Feelgood, that's some hot stuff.
Okay, all right, respect.
Yeah, I'd say that's their pop album.
See, isn't that funny? Like, I am into this thing that is like considered such a subgenre of a thing, but the thing I like from certain bands are like their most pop, polished kind of albums.
Maybe that just means it was really, really good, and that's why it was so popular. Maybe not just pop, but it was the quality of it was so great that it got so popular.
So the guy that produced Dr. Feelgood also produced the Black Album. Just saying.
Wait, who is that?
Bob Rock.
That's not Bob Rock, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he did
And
that.
I believe
Okay, that
maybe he
explains
did
it.
the Black.
I think every metal band's pop album was done by Bob Rock.
Yeah, because I think AC/DC's Back in Black was also done by Bob Rock, I believe.
I know Def Leppard's big one.
Yes.
Was definitely like a year-long.
All right, we ain't gonna talk shit about Def Leppard, are we?
I'm not talking shit. I'm not saying anything bad about
Oh, I
Def
love
Leppard.
that.
So we're fine. I think everyone that's listening is probably okay with it. I think we have a very distinctive audience who's very in tune with what you're saying.
We've lost most of them by now. I'm confident you're going to cut out all the irrelevant, boring bits.
This is the relevant stuff right here.
We're finally getting into the real stuff right now.
This is the guts of everything.
Going to need a part 3.
All right. So we've had a
And now we go quiet.
Yeah, we will cry. But what I'm saying is, we've had a good run. Do we have Kyle? Do you have any other questions you want to ask?
Important and relevant? Probably not. I could say a bunch of dumb stuff.
I mean, we can go to the dumb stuff aspect of the conversation now. In the unimportant, we could put this on
The lightning round.
Yeah, the lightning round,
round.
the Patreon exclusive content aspect of this interview. So you said that you're going to release something maybe next year, so you're working on stuff. Do you go in moods of making music, like you're really furious about your productivity and then cool off, or do you kind of consistently pop stuff out?
It's like in the past, it's taken me a year or two to get enough material for an album together. And for some reason, with this project, I put out 4 albums this year, and like I said, I'm holding one until next year just to give people a breather. So it's been extremely productive. I don't know how I've managed that, but I still have, notebooks of ideas I want to get to. And then everyone I'm following is inspiring me to want to do, different styles and spread out even further. And thankfully, like you were describing, the audience and yourselves in particular open to all sorts of experimenting and eclectic things. It just encourages me to try to think outside the box. And Eraserhead soundtrack, for God's sake.
Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Maybe the final question I have for you is, what act now is out there that's really got you going? Like, do you really this is it? This is some hot stuff.
I would normally pass on a question like this because I don't want to hurt any feelings, but I will definitely say it's Alpha Chrome Yeo. He has he's one of the nicest guys in the scene.
It's true.
Extremely responsive to everyone, and he's just extremely positive. And he's just been killing it with his releases. He's one of the more productive people too.
I can't even keep up with what he's doing.
Bite-sized EPs, but yeah, every EP he puts out is completely unpredictable. He picks a style that interests him at the moment, and he totally nails the essence of it in 4 or 5 songs. And it just thrills me to try and guess where he's going to go next, and it inspires me to think I don't have to be limited to recreating what people liked that I did last time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he is such a super nice guy. Like it's amazing. And that's like I think the overall like at least in my experience.
Being nice will get you somewhere.
Yeah, and like there's so many nice like
Yeah,
you know
who would
like
have thought?
yeah, you know, North Innsbruck, Chris, who's the third poor bastard, another probably gives Alpha a run for his money in niceness. Like
Oh my God! Yeah,
Too
he's
nice.
up
too nice. It's amazing. Like, and that's what I
there. Two
appreciated
nice
about it.
bastards.
Yeah. Well, I really don't. I don't have anything else. So, Mike, do you have anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to plug? Anything that's coming up?
Nope, I'm gonna give people a break. Thank you guys for letting me ramble a while.
Something
Like I
whiskered
said,
this way comes on Laser Steel Records.
Please pick it up.
Yes,
It's a great record.
there's still copies left. There might
And-
be less than 20 right now.
Well, I will get my copy.
Fear of missing out, people. Get it now.
It
Yes,
is
FOMO. That's
fantastic.
The next album title.
Well, again, thank you,
Thank
Mike,
you.
for taking time out of your day to be with us and have a conversation and ramble on while we get drunk because we've been drinking this whole time.
Oh my God! Yeah, I've gone through a bottle of Diet Dr Pepper myself.
Ooh, we're getting crazy.
You're getting
That'll keep me up.
yeah. So thank you for coming on. Until next time, this is Eric.
And this is Kyle.
Thank you for listening to Poor
And this is
Bastards
Cat Temper.
and Cat Tamper. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Meow.
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 All right, welcome back.
Yo.
So hopefully you enjoyed that interview and those songs. Mike is just what a great guy. I'd like to hang out with that dude in real life.
He brought the funny. I like that. That was very good.
Yeah, he messaged me later and he said, "I died." He said, my voice sounds like Rick Moranis eating donuts," and I was like, "What the fuck?"
I wouldn't think of anything it's a good example.
Yeah, I was like, okay, but yeah, I laughed my ass off. So I did offer him to come back on the show. And there was a little bit of drama because we're figuring out the remote recording aspect of the deal, but I was able to filter it so it's listenable.
Yeah, do we all sound like robots? I think we all sound like
No,
robots.
just him.
Okay.
No, we're good. It's just his deal I had to fix.
Okay.
So we still sound pretty. It's all good.
It would take a lot for me not to, I'm sure, but
Yeah, so what else is going on in the world with releases and music that's happening?
I don't even know. It's just been an avalanche of shit coming out.
It's really hard to keep track. And it seems like, have you noticed this? But it seems like there's starting to become more tours. Seems like there's more movement, not necessarily huge nationwide tours, but I'm seeing a lot of like 8, date loops around the East Coast or the West Coast or the South. So I think that underground scene is starting to rise a little bit. And
Well, one thing I could say for artists looking to do tours is that you can definitely get support in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota.
that's right. Speaking of the Twin Cities area and Nitrowave Twin Cities, there is a show coming up on
November 9th.
Yes, which we will record and put on Night Ride, which will be exciting. I'm hoping to have much less technical issues because I'm just going to edit them all out.
Well, everyone hopes to. But
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
don't know.
we'll see. It's fun. Let me tell you, folks. Like trying to record, pay attention to what's going on, keep shit broadcasting, and then you're in someone else's space because you're in the sound booth with that person's domain. It gets a little awkward.
Little butts to nuts in the booth.
Or butts to butts. Just a whole lot of butt stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Or tip to tip. I don't, .
All right, so hopefully no hiccups. That show on the 9th is going to feature Night Audit, Denotive, and North Innsbruck. We will be at the Amsterdam bar.
For those that are listening.
Downtown St. Paul.
And local.
Should come check it out. Be a good time. Show's free.
Yeah.
Too.
You just have to be 21 plus, though, unfortunately. That's the only challenge for some folks. Although I don't know if anyone under 35 listens to us, so there is that.
Or, yeah, not too many younger people than 21, I don't think would be into synthwave. But what do I know? I'm not out on the streets asking the younger people, what kind of music do you like? Do you like synthwave?
Yeah, I have no idea. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and, you know, it's leading up to the December show. I believe another Amsterdam show was just confirmed for January, like 8th or 10th. So, you know, a lot of cool stuff happening. You know, again, it seems like that there's a lot more folks getting out, playing it live, getting out there doing the thing, as opposed to just being like bedroom artists in essence.
Well, as an artist, wouldn't that be something that you'd want to do? Go out and play live shows?
No. But there are people that don't ever want to leave the bedroom. They just want to release the stuff, be left alone.
They want to release the stuff in their bedroom alone.
Exactly. Alone.
I mean, that's okay at a certain time and place every once in a while, but you want to get out in the real world
And release your stuff.
and do something there, not alone.
With one to multiple people.
It's the more people who show up, the better.
Yeah. Typically, in this exact instance, more the merrier. It's a daisy chain of excitement. Yes. All right, what else do we have? Not really anything else. That's cool. Thank you for listening. As always, I hope you enjoyed the interview. We had a great time. We are going to be interviewing Next up, we're going to have Night Out on the show, which is next week. Then we're going to interview Watch Out for Snakes, the next. And then there's going to be a surprise, hopefully, thing coming out in between that. And we just have more stuff to follow. So it's really exciting. So stay tuned again. Please support us on Patreon. Right now we have a deal. If you donate $1 a month, you will get stickers and a signed poster from us.
Yeah. Free stuff.
You get the free stuff. It's going to cost me more money
to ship it out.
To ship it out than it is for you to give me the show, the $1. So our goal right now is just to reach $200 a month. And that's really honestly just to cover the expenses of running the show. So again, thank you for listening. Appreciate your support. Until next time, this is Eric.
This is Kyle, TPB_cast for the Instagram account.
Thank you for that. All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks, bye.